Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devam Gauravani Pracharane Nivasesa Sanyavari Vaskichade Shatarane Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sri Shri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, as a direct disciple of Srila Prabhupada, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, I've been practicing Krishna consciousness for a little over 50 years, and it's important to share our realizations because we want to continue Prabhupada's legacy. And it's a very important legacy because what Prabhupada has given is of utmost importance to anyone who is interested in getting liberation from the material world, finding out what their true purpose in life is, and perfect their existence. This knowledge that Srila Prabhupada is giving is called the Parampara knowledge. It's coming down through the Parampara disciplic succession, and it is untainted, and it is pure, apapavidam, and is not attainable through mental speculation. This is knowledge that is handed down originally by Lord Krishna to Lord Brahma. Lord Brahma then handed it down to his disciple Narada, and it goes all the way down Srila Vyasadeva, all great pure devotees of the Lord, to our current Acharya Srila Prabhupada. And so if we become familiar with this knowledge, we can become liberated from the material conception of life and become ultimately lovers of God. So this Krishna consciousness is actually the perfect religion. It is perfect, and it has been perfect for time immemorial. And for those who can adopt it, then they also can become perfect. So some of the things that Srila Prabhupada stressed as a new disciple, we often heard Prabhupada speak from the Vyasa-san, and he would continually say to us, Aham Brahmasmi. This was something that I was not very well acquainted with, why Prabhupada was always saying this. He was stressing on this point. A lot of what Prabhupada spoke to us about in the early days had to do with the body. And the more I thought about it, the more I realized how important this is to the crux of our ideology. You see, the living entity is pure spiritual nature, is Brahman. We are a particle of Krishna's Brahman energy, part of the Brahma. We're situated in the Brahma Jyoti. We're part of the Brahman energy. We are of the superior nature, but we cannot exist without a body. At some point in time, if there was actually before time, as Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains, we made a choice to either accept the material body and go through the karmic cycle of birth and death, or if we were fortunate enough, we became attracted to the spiritual world, in which case we were absorbed into the internal potency and became a member of Vaikuntha or Goloka. Obviously, in our situation, we accepted the material body, meaning that we decided that independence and the temptation to enjoy material life was too strong. We did not know the consequences, but we accepted the peril in order to gain the pleasure. In so doing, in material world, the way it works is karma is there. In the animal form, karma is not a problem because animals aren't subject to karma. In the human form, karma exists because we have choice. And if we choose to satisfy our senses, then our karma is going to bind us like to a grinding wheel. Good or bad karma makes no difference. Karma is karma. Of course, karma does lead to different places, different situations, different bodies, but karma means action. And anything that is not directly related to Krishna or Krishna consciousness will result in good and bad karma. This good and bad karma is what creates bodies. The body is awarded by God in order to fulfill the desires coming from our karma, So as long as there's karma, there's going to be a material body. Because the living entity, even though he's spirit soul and different from the body, has to have a body in order to express himself, whether it's a material body or a spiritual body. So in the material world, everyone has a material body, and these material bodies are actually full of suffering. The material bodies are expanded everywhere. There are bodies everywhere, alive and dead, actually, but there are bodies in all situations and all facets of the universe, upper planetary system, lower planetary system. On this planet, there are many, many forms of life, 8,400,000 species, of which occupy unlimited amounts of jiva souls. So we are presently in our own body. This body is a result of karma, action produced over many, many lifetimes, and it's working out itself. Our karma is being awarded and punished on immediate level, very soon to happen, and much later. So there's different time periods associated with our karma. And as long as we continue living a material lifestyle, then the karma must work itself out. So we can extend our stay in the material world by just continuing doing what we're doing. And karma is divided into vikama, akama, sakama. So there is vikarma, which is karma against the principles or regulations or the dharmic principles in the Vedas. Akama means someone who's on the liberated stage, doesn't perform activity for mundane sense gratification. And sakama would be activities according to the Vedic principles, but that produce some fruit of reaction. So all of us are in one of those three categories. And so when you become Krishna conscious or you study Krishna consciousness, you learn that all your activities should be for the pleasure of Krishna. Yajna Vishnu, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, all of your actions, if they are done in accordance with me, for my pleasure, then you'll become free from the bondage of karma. So this is what Prabhupada came to give us. He taught us Krishna consciousness means learning how to do everything for the pleasure of Krishna. Rupa Goswami explains Krishna consciousness means never forgetting Krishna, always remembering him. So somehow, if we can engage in hearing, chanting, remembering the 9 different processes of devotional service, if we're always involved in one of them, then we will be constantly working on meditating and remembering Krishna. Everything we do, everything you eat, everything you give away should be done as an offering unto me, Lord Krishna says. In so doing, Krishna says, you'll be relieved of the bodily conception of life. You'll come to the stage of sama, where everything is equal. You'll see living entities expanded everywhere. You'll realize you're not the body. And that, Prabhupada explains, is really the beginning of Krishna consciousness. Because at that stage where you have given up the body, given up your attachments to the material body, your desires for material wealth, fame, prosperity, and you have adopted the practice of Krishna consciousness, you become disassociated with the body and the bodily concept. Now, you as the living being, the spirit soul, are beyond the body. We're really never associated with the body, but it's only due to karma that we are bound like chains and rope to the body. As soon as we give everything to Krishna, it's already his, but we give it back. We stop claiming false proprietorship over everything. If we give it back, if we do our bhakti, if we learn the art of serving Krishna, giving everything to him, then we get relieved from the burden of karma. Krishna cuts that cycle, that bond. He is actually in the process of Krishna consciousness. It is taking that lust, which is the cause of our bondage, and it is converting it to love. So we're learning devotional service to Krishna is the idea or the act of taking our lusty desires and converting them to love. And when this happens, the karma is dispensed, it is obliterated, it is transformed. And the result is we become free from the bodily concept of life. The bodily concept of life is a great prison house. It makes no difference how much money you have or don't have. You can have so much money and you can have so many yachts, boats, and so forth. Or you can be dreaming of having yachts, boats, and so forth. And neither will do you any good in terms of the bodily concept of life. So whether you're poor, dreaming of being rich, or rich, neither one of them has any ability to relieve you of the bodily concept of life. The only way to see things as they are and to get relief from the bodily concept of life is practicing Krishna consciousness. The Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave a very simple formula for the Kali Yuga. It says, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. He said, Harinama, Harinama, Harinama eva kevala. Kalua nasteva, 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 gati, anyata. The only means of awakening God consciousness in this age of Kali Yuga is to chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. So this constant chanting is able to obliterate the karma for any individual, no matter whether you are living, well, whatever your condition is, you can become relieved from the illusion by this chanting. And when we become free from the illusion of the material identification, when we stop identifying with the body, then we can begin to see things as they are. We'll actually see that everything is conscious because we're living actually in the Brahman energy. It's covered by Maya. The covering is the Maya, which is our karma. This is the cloud Prabhupada refers to. So when the karma is relieved, when we no longer have karma, then the darkness is removed and we can see living entities everywhere. We can feel them. Everything is conscious because we're actually living in the Brahman energy. It's very important. So when you are aware of your Brahman existence, your whole life changes. You can realize how you are not the body, how this body is just a covering. Prabhupada made such many remarks about it. If you listen to his lectures, especially, if you read his books carefully, you'll see how Prabhupada really focused on this idea that we're not the body. And he wanted us not to live like we're the body. Someone who is Godas, he is controlled by the senses in the body. So he lives as though he is the body. My body gets hungry, I must answer the call. My body desires sex, I must answer the call. My body wants this happiness, my body wants that happiness. I hear something, I see something, I smell something, I follow my senses. That is Godas. And Goswami, Prabhupada always emphasized, is someone who can control the senses. Rupa Goswami says in Nectar of Instruction, for someone who can control his senses, the tongue, belly, genitals. He can make disciples all over the world. So we have to understand the importance of I am not the body. I am not to be controlled by the body. This body is simply awarded to me according to my karma. Try to understand that. So that if we practice the Krishna consciousness, the karma is going to be relieved, will come naturally to the stage of the Brahmabhuta stage, as mentioned in Bhagavad Gita. Brahmabhuta prasanatmana sochatina kangsati samasarveshu bhuteshu madbhaktim labate param. One comes to the stage of the Brahman stage of existence, just by practicing Krishna consciousness, because the karma gets relieved, it's obliterated, is no longer existing. And so naturally one comes to his original state, pristine state of God consciousness. The first stage is the Brahmabhuta stage. Prabhupada says God is realized in 3 stages, Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagavan. So for us, the Brahmabhuta, Brahman stage is the first stage. The impersonalists misunderstand and think that that is the final stage. When you come to the Brahman stage and there's no more bodily consciousness, you come to the perfect stage, we're done. And that is not true. Aruha Krichena Param Param Tada. Pasyanti, I can't remember the rest of the verse. This is the Bhagavatam, 11th canto. I think it's verse 4 or 13, where it is explained by Lord Brahma that even if you come to the Brahmabhuta stage of self-realization, due to impure intelligence, he says, you will fall. And he's actually saying this to Lord Krishna, meaning that Lord Krishna is empowering Lord Brahma to say this. So this is a very important point. And Prabhupada used to emphasize this like anything. Even if you come to the Brahmabhuta platform of self-realization, you know you're not the body, and you see everything as consciousness, still, unless you are devotee of Krishna, unless you are devoted to Lord Krishna, unless you do your pranams to Lord Krishna and you practice and develop your love for Krishna, you will fall due to impure intelligence. Impure intelligence means I do not recognize the Lord. I do not recognize the Lord. Now, when Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna that both of you and I have taken many, many births. I can remember all of them, Arjuna, but you cannot remember any of them. So Krishna explains to Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita, yes, I have a body too. You have a body, I have a body. The difference is I take my birth due to my free will. You do not. This is the difference. But the Mayavadis, those who are on the Brahmabhuta platform, who have not accepted Krishna, they do not accept that he has a transcendental body. Therefore, they fall. This is Brahma's point. They will fall. You have to accept that there is a God with a form. You have to accept that his form is transcendental, beyond time, that he controls time, kala. He's not subject to time. In order for you not to fall from the Brahmabhuta platform, you must accept the doctrine of Krishna consciousness. So it is a waste of time to be an impersonalist, to come to the stage after many, many, many lifetimes of practice. One may come to that stage, you'll fall again because of the impure intelligence or because of the impure understanding that I'm God. Oh, I'm God, you're God, everything is God. Everything is conscious. We have no idea what it is, but we're all part of it, and that's the end of it. And this is where the impersonalists fall short. So we have to go beyond that to Paramatma and to Bhagavan. Paramatma is the second stage of God realization, where one can see Lord Vishnu as the controller of everything, and the owner, and the overseer, and the permitter, as Bhagavad Gita mentions. One has to see that behind the Brahman energy, there is someone controlling it. There is someone controlling it. It's not just void, nirvana, meaningless. It has a controller, and that controller is localized in everyone's heart. The individual soul cannot move within the material world without the help of the super soul. He's helpless. He doesn't know it, but he is. He cannot do anything unless the super soul allows it to happen. There's a super soul as the overseer permitter. What about someone who's crippled in a wheelchair? His mind is thinking, I want to get up, I want to get up, I want to walk, but he cannot. He cannot, because because the super soul has arranged everything in such a way based on that person's karma that he is now in a wheelchair. So we cannot just do anything we want. We must recognize that there is a Lord behind this creation and the material energy, and that is Lord Vishnu. This Lord Vishnu is actually Lord Kshirodaksai Vishnu, Garbhodaksai Vishnu, Mahavishnu are really the same Vishnu, just doing different functions. And they act in different ways to accompany the living entity in the material world and to assist him and to help him. But the super soul, who was guiding the entire material world, is just a fragmental portion of Krishna. You can imagine, because of the vastness of the material world, therefore, how great Lord Krishna is. He is so great and so magnificent. It is really overwhelming to think of, and to actually think of meeting Krishna. Lord Brahma did not know just how powerful Lord Krishna is. Lord Brahma is very powerful. In our universe, Lord Brahma has 4 heads. And he sees in all directions, and he is the co-creator of the entire material creation. He's extremely powerful. He's got tremendous potency. He's the greatest living entity in the material world. And so he did not understand exactly how powerful and great Krishna is. So he went to play a trick on him called Brahma Mohan Leela. And he stole the calves and cowherd boys. And he thought that he could get away with it. And we know the story, how Krishna became those stolen calves and cowherd boys. And 1 year later, Lord Brahma came back thinking that he wanted to see what Krishna's reaction was going to be. Lo and behold, all the calves and cowherd boys who he stolen were right there. They were grazing, they were doing their same thing as though nothing had happened. That's literally impossible. No one can do that. Lord Brahma began to think with his 4 heads, that is I cannot do that, therefore no one in the material world can do that. And then it dawned on him that this is God, much more powerful than he is. I mean, he is oodles of time more powerful than Lord Brahma. And Lord Brahma was so blown away by how powerful Krishna is that he wrote the Govindamani Purusham prayers. He offered his obeisances to the Lord. He asked for forgiveness, and this is very typical of demigods who miscalculate the power of Krishna. And being a little boy that he is, it's very easy to miscalculate Krishna's position. So we want to understand Krishna's position correctly through the parampara and the Vedic knowledge. Krishna is not although he is the 7th incarnation of Lord Vishnu, he is not an expansion of Lord Vishnu. He's actually Sarvakarna Karnam, and he's Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Vajami, the original person from which all incarnations and expansions come from. This is very, very important to our philosophy of Krishna consciousness and our theology. Understand that Krishna is the original person, and that all others are expansions of Krishna. Everything is an expansion of Krishna. All the demigods, all the different Vishnu tattvas, all the jiva souls, the material energy, everything is an expansion of Krishna, but not everything together is greater than him. Everything is subject to his control. He is the one that arranges everything. Everything is coming from Krishna's thought. He is the person, the original person, and everything is coming from him. So we want to understand that, and we want to therefore worship Krishna because he's the original God. He's a supreme Lord. By doing that, one develops his unalloyed bhakti for the Lord. One develops his love for the Lord. One awakens his bhakti and love for the Lord, and one achieves perfection of life. And so doing, one does not come back to the material world. And that guarantee is given by the Lord in the Bhagavad Gita. When Krishna tells Arjuna that those who have attained perfection and love for me, they do not come back to this material world again. That is my guarantee, Krishna says. So he maintains his devotees in the spiritual world, which is something we don't have direct experience of, but we have to accept. We have to accept that once we become free from the bodily concept of life, if we are worshiping Krishna with love and devotion, Krishna will award us a spiritual body. And in that spiritual body, which is non-different than the soul, we will be able to live in the spiritual world without ever coming back again. This is the doctrine of Krishna consciousness, and this is the final solution to existence. We cannot find a solution on the higher planets, lower planets, in the earthly planets, because our body is changing. We have to find a solution beyond the material world. And the Brahma Bhuta yogis who are trying just for self-realization, they cannot find permanency in the Brahman platform. No one can stay in the Brahma Jyoti. Everyone must have a body. That is Prabhupada's doctrine. He's explaining to us. But you must choose what kind of body you want. Some yogis want bodies in the sun planet. Some yogis want to go to the moon planet and drink somaras drink, very intoxicating beverage. Other yogis want to go live in the Nanda gardens of the higher planetary systems. So you can achieve higher planets through certain mantras and certain yoga performance, but that is not a final solution to the material world, because even those on the heavenly planets can only live a certain period of time before they must come back again. Prabhupada says they exhaust their pious credits. They come back, they come down in the rain and the grains, and they're eaten by men, and then they turn into semen and they're injected into a woman. Prabhupada explains all this. So the only course of action for an intelligent man, Prabhupada says, is surrender to Krishna. That's the only course of action. That is the only for an intelligent person. Someone who has read and understands the Vedas under the guidance of a spiritual master. Not any spiritual master. He should be a pure devotee of Krishna. Sukracharya was a spiritual master for Bali, but he wasn't a pure devotee of Krishna. He even knew who Lord Vishnu was, but did not recommend surrendering to him. So one shouldn't just be an ordinary guru. One should not accept a Mayavadi guru. Lord Chaitanya accepted Ishwara Puri as a spiritual master. Ishwara Puri was a very close, wonderful disciple of Madhavendra. So when he came to see, Lord Chaitanya came to see Prakananda Saraswati, who was an impersonalist. Prakasananda said, I don't understand you. You're such a wonderful soul. You're glowing. You're effulgent. You obviously realized that you're God, or that you're Brahman realized soul. So why are you sitting over there? Why don't you come with us, sit with us, talk with us? Lord Chaitanya did not want to associate with them because they're Mayavadis. So he said, no, I'm fine over here. So they came over to Lord Chaitanya. And they sat and they talked and they listened, and they understood that here is someone who is speaking greater knowledge than what they had. Back in the time of Lord Chaitanya, there was a practice that if someone was erudite and very scholarly, and he was able to have a discussion with another Brahmin who was erudite and very scholarly, the loser would adopt the ways of the winner, because they seriously had an interest back then in advancing spiritually. And so it was with Prakananda Saraswati, who was heading up this contingency of Mayavadi sannyasis. When he heard from Lord Chaitanya, because he was not envious, he could understand that here is superior knowledge. Here is someone who knows more than I do. And I know everything. I'm Brahman realized. I'm a very high individual. Prakasananda Saraswati was thinking this. But here, someone knows more than me, just like Lord Brahma found out. Prakasananda found out the same way, that Lord Chaitanya is greater than he. And therefore, Lord Chaitanya must be the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He must have a body. because anyone without a body does not know more than me, Prakasananda. But so therefore, Lord Chaitanya, who is saying that he's supreme, that he's talking about Krishna and that God has a body, but it's transcendental, this must be true. In other words, someone who's liberated is accepting the doctrine of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Therefore, he is converting from impersonalist with no body and idea that bodiless is the highest aspect of the truth. Now he's coming on board, oh, God has a body and I am inferior to that God. That is Krishna consciousness. I have a body, God has a body, I have a body. God's body is superior to mine. I must worship God. God is greater than me. Even though I'm Brahman realized, or I realize I'm not the body, I'm higher than someone who's embodied, who's attached to the body. God has a body and it's greater than me. He's greater than I am. So I need to worship him. I need to offer my pranams. This was by Krishna's grace. He descends yuge, time and time again to make us aware that, yes, there is a God. He does have a spiritual body. He's not subject to time, and he is all worshipable. This is the purpose of Krishna descending. This is the purpose of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu descending. No difference. Same. To restore the principles of Vedic religion, Dharma. Dharma is always about this concept. And this is the same thing Srila Prabhupada taught. That we, being in the cycle of birth and death, we're always subject to this ignorance that body is ignorance, body is ignorance, body is ignorance. So how can God have a body? And so this is the thinking of the impersonalist. For so long, everyone is dominated by this idea that God must be bodiless. So Krishna comes, Lord Chaitanya comes, the pure devotees come in order to dispel this ignorance in material society, in the human society. It's ignorance because it's knowledge that they didn't have before. So we are in a state of ignorance. We must be educated. Krishna comes to educate. He shows something that is incomprehensible. When Bali Maharaj accepted that this poor Brahmin, he's asking for 3 steps of land. And even though Sukracharya is saying, don't give it to him, he's Vishnu. Bali was mesmerized by the beauty of the Lord, which means he was a devotee at heart. He loved the Lord. He said, no, I'm going to give him what he asked for. And in so doing, Lord Vamanadev expanded. The demigods could see this. He expanded so that his first step, his form expanded so large that the first step he took covered the entire earth. The entire earth planet with one step. So he tricked Bali. He took away all of everything that he had because Bali agreed to give him what he asked for. So he tricked Bali because Bali was such a powerful ruler. Bali had to give everything back to Krishna. Whenever Krishna descends, he must straighten out the kings and the monarchs. Those rulers who have remained loyal to Krishna, like Yudhisthira, they continued. These great monarchs, King Nabi and all these other great monarchs mentioned in the Bhagavatam, Pariksit Maharaj, they remain loyal to Krishna. They bow their head and their crown hits the ground, and they remain loyal servants of the Lord. In this way, they exemplify the monarchy, just like Lord Ram, and they lead and they teach, and they lead the citizens in their sovereignty, and they make sure the Brahmins are there to propagate Krishna consciousness, because they understand the Vedic Dharma and the Vedic lifestyle, the different varnas and ashramas. They understand this because they're servants. King is servant. They understand. But sometimes these kings become bad and these Brahmins become ineffective. And so there's an evil, a certain darkness that grows. Some kings become bad and they are influenced by people like Kamsa. So Kamsa started to propagate this evil idea among other kings, and they started to become associated with Kamsa. And Kamsa threatened and bullied, and so they gave up their monarchy of goodness, and they adopted his style. And he was promising, oh, I'll just build you this great staircase to heaven. You don't even have to perform all these yajnas like these Brahmins are teaching. Forget it, forget it, forget it. We'll do a shortcut. We'll do it my way. Materialism is king. Science is king. Don't listen to the Vedas. That's how powerful people like Kamsa are. And so because people are ruled by ignorance, they follow these type of doctrines because they want immediate sense gratification. People are ignorant. They're not under the protection of Krishna. They don't follow the internal potency of devotional life. Therefore, they don't get nourished by the Lord, or they don't get protection. Patita Pavana, he's there to protect those who surrender. So when Krishna comes, he protects those who are still surrendered to him. He gives them protection because they're being burdened by these bad kings and these impotent Brahmins who are not able to do their job and who have turned. So Krishna gives, but there's still some that are humble, that still want the Lord, that haven't given up faith. So Krishna comes to protect them. I come to protect the innocent, to punish the impious, and to reestablish the principles of religion, to make earth a good place again. This is why Krishna comes. And this is why Lord Chaitanya came. He came because his Kali Yuga is so bad. People are eating cows like crazy. They're so addicted to irreligious activity, and they're very addicted to their body, and they don't mind dying for the body. They don't mind living for the body. They don't care. They don't think about anything beyond death. They just want sense gratification. So it's making life intolerable. Lord Chaitanya came to put an end to this. So he gave this Hare Krishna mantra and this Harinam Sankirtan, and he taught, very simple, just chant, dance, and eat prasadam and be happy. And this was Prabhupada's formula. When he first came to America, these hippies, he encountered so many people that were on drugs, alcohol, dope, sleepy, free love, communes, the antithesis of Vedic Dharma. The antithesis. But he saw hope, he saw possibility. Even the many, many hippies were just impersonalists. I'm God, you're God, everyone's God, take LSD, have free sex. Everyone. This was what Prabhupada encountered. So for us, for those that were trapped by this, we didn't see how Krishna consciousness could possibly be. We didn't understand it when it first was presented to us by his divine grace. Prabhupada came, and because his preaching was pure, it was like a sword cutting through Maya. He knew that deep inside of us, we had a yearning to know the truth. Everyone does. That's why if you stick to this philosophy and you preach to others the highest truth, it will penetrate. Because Krishna is so powerful that he cuts through Maya, which is so thick. So Prabhupada believed in the words of the Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita. He knew that if people saw the Lord in the temple, tasted the prasadam, and chanted the holy name, that they would find solace, they'd find shelter. So we started chanting in Tompkins Square Park. Just started chanting, no money, living in the Bowery. That's all he could do. In fact, he was living in Pennsylvania in a very nice place. In Butler, Pennsylvania, Sally Agarwal and her husband had sponsored Srila Prabhupada. So he was living there, but he knew he had to carry out his mission. And this is something very important that we need to ponder and think about, that if we are to be successful, now you can actually write this down, you can put it on the wall, you can read it every morning, but I will tell you this, Prabhupada's success is, he, in his own words, is because he had ambition to carry out the orders of his spiritual master. End of story. That in itself is how Prabhupada became the greatest devotee of our time. He says it. There's no bones about it. It's clear. If we are to also become successful in Krishna consciousness, we must learn to carry out the orders of our spiritual master. We must learn to please our guru. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta told Prabhupada, if you get any money, go to the West and print books. And Prabhupada said, I took this order seriously. He only met Srila Bhaktisiddhanta once or twice. He only saw him a couple of times. It wasn't like he had constant association with him. The Prabhupada's giving the formula. So we must, if we are to be successful, we must preach. We must teach. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, he who delivers this message of Bhagavad Gita is most dear to me. We must preach, we must teach, we must give people Krishna consciousness, like Prabhupada gave us. We must give people an opportunity to understand that they're not the body. And we will be successful. We can't look at the results of what we're doing, but we should know that we're doing what we're supposed to do. Krishna will empower us more and more. And those that are meant to hear it and will hear it, and it will penetrate. Whether they take up the practice of Krishna consciousness today, tomorrow, or in the future, that we cannot say. And in some cases, people come to Krishna consciousness and they leave. But Arjuna asks Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, what about those persons who've taken up the path of Krishna consciousness but then leave? Do they dissolve like a rent cloud? The actual words in Bhagavad Gita. Sometimes we see a cloud in the sky and then later it just dissolves. So do transcendentalists who don't complete their mission or fulfill their mission, is their advancement gone? Is it just a troublesome work that they've done? And do they just go back to the material world and continue? What about them? Arjuna inquired. Krishna very nicely explained to Arjuna, no. Their time as a transcendentalist is not wasted. Krishna explains, the unsuccessful yogi who has not completed their Krishna consciousness, they will go one of two places. And Prabhupada purports on this and comments on this. They will either go to the higher planets and enjoy life among the celestial beings. Because of their practice of Krishna consciousness, they'll be able to go and enjoy life in the higher planets and live a very long life, free from disease and sickness and very good karma. Because of their practice, they get to do that. And then eventually they'll have to come back down again into the human form after their karma expires, where they can again take up their Krishna consciousness, basically where they're left off. Or in some cases, they can continue on the higher planet. Not that require they come down. There are temples in the higher planets. It's mentioned in Bhagavatam. Or second possibility, Krishna says, is yoga brashta. They can take birth in the family of great transcendentalists. In other words, if you are a devotee of Lord Krishna, then you can expect to take birth in the family of devotees, where you will immediately take up the practice again. Krishna says, I remind him very soon where he left off so he can continue and be successful on this path, Krishna says. So Prabhupada explains in one of his purports that for someone who's a new devotee, who maybe hasn't had much time on the path, if they die they can go to the higher planets because they're not really that deep yet into Krishna consciousness. And just simply by associating with devotees and having a scant amount of time with devotees, they get higher birth just from that alone. So much benefit by being just associated with Krishna consciousness. Maybe you've seen sometimes someone comes, lives in the ashram for a short time and then moves on. Someone like that. Someone who's a devotee for a short period of time and then dies. Maybe he's a devotee for a short period of time and dies from an accident, maybe a car crash or something. Then the second type of devotee is someone who's more seasoned. He's been around Krishna consciousness for a longer period of time. He's been doing his chanting methodically, religiously, every day getting up, seriously trying to practice, understands the benefit, associating with Vaishnavas, sadhu sangha, committed, reads, chants, accepts Srila Prabhupada, etc. This type of person, when they die and if they've not completed their Krishna consciousness, they still struggle, they're still trying, they still haven't got that fire yet, the fire that makes one want to renounce the material world and become fully devoted. That fire hasn't kicked in yet. So there's still that residual karma that he's working off, and maybe he hasn't worked it off yet. That person, that devotee, Prabhupada says, he will take birth again in a family of great transcendentalists. That person, so he can very quickly advance, because when you take birth in the family of transcendentalists, your life from the very beginning of your life is Radha Krishna, chanting Hare Krishna, Bhagavatam, chanting. There's no previous memory, no previous samskar of a past life. You are right away, you're given new body, right away you're given life among devotees. Yes, you bring your previous subtle body with you, as explained in the Vedas, and Prabhupada explains that, but your life around you is all about Krishna. And so you get that chance right away to burn off your karma, whatever's left, and then from there you can go to Gokul, next life. So those are the two types of persons who've not completed Krishna consciousness, but we shouldn't think that we cannot complete Krishna consciousness in one life. Prabhupada never told us that you have to take birth again if you don't want. You can become Krishna conscious in one moment, Prabhupada said. So we have to believe that Krishna consciousness can be executed fully in one life. And if we're able to execute it and to come to the stage of Bhav, where we have real love for God, real appreciation for Krishna and Krishna Leela, then we can take birth in Gokul in the womb of a devotee, womb of a gopi. And from there, Prabhupada says, we'll see Krishna for the first time. So this is really the purpose of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's coming. He's giving us this process. Prabhupada's giving it to us, and is authentic. And we should accept it as such, give them the opportunity. Prabhupada said, just give this one life to Krishna, just one. So this was the proposal Prabhupada gave us. Just one life. I know Prabhupada said you don't know exactly what the benefit is yet, but trust me, Prabhupada said, trust me. You will be rewarded beyond your expectations. We believe Prabhupada. Okay, what do we have otherwise? We didn't have such great opportunities. There was Vietnam War, there was LSD, there was commune living, there was 9-to-5 living. Prabhupada said, just give that up. Take prasadam, eat nice prasadam, look at the beautiful deity of Jagannath, Lord Krishna, associate nicely amongst yourself, enjoy the chanting process. Just live this type of life. Read my books, learn the philosophy, recite some of these mantras, some of the passages in the books, learn them well. And in one short life, Prabhupada said, this one short life, go back to home, back to God. What about that? And so we were young and we saw this opportunity. And we looked at it and we said, shall I go this way or shall I go this way? I'm already interested in spiritual life. I'm already interested. Why not take the Krishna conscious opportunity? It looks really good. You've got beautiful Lord Krishna playing the flute. I like that. I like that. I like that as the goal. Why shall I just try for this scorching Brahman light energy and the opportunity for free love? Free love? Yeah, that sounds like a come on, free love. It just has its limits. Oh, what about all these concerts and music and fun? Yeah, but after a while it's boring. How often can you get high and have free love and free sex and listen to Grateful Dead and all this music? It has its limits. It's not the be all and end all. And furthermore, I'm getting older and older, so why should I accept that lifestyle? When Prabhupada's coming and giving me something different, he's giving me an opportunity to develop devotion, to eat a pure spiritual diet, to see these beautiful deities which have so much history behind them, to learn Vedic Dharma, which is the truth, Sanatan Dharma. There's something attractive about that package. Now, if I accept that package, it means I don't have any opportunity for free sex, unlimited sex. I don't have unlimited, drugs. I can't just play music and do what I want. If I accept the Krishna package, I accept restriction on my material lifestyle in order to gain this subtle joy, which is deeper than my material life. If I reject Krishna consciousness, that I'm going for the faster pleasure that I can see and immediately feel, that there's no need to do any austerity to get. It's just there. And this is kind of why we made our original mistake in the first place. We chose the easy way. We didn't want to do the austerity. We didn't want to do the tapasya. Material life is pleasure without tapasya. And it never, ever gets us anywhere. This is the meaning behind the material world. This is the lesson we have to learn. God is willing to give us everything. We will inherit the kingdom of God, but we have to do it on Krishna's terms, not on ours. We have to learn to be a good devotee in order to inherit what the Father is willing to give. A good father who has everything isn't going to give the son, the prodigal son, his kingdom if he's not qualified to inherit it. Just because we are the son does not give us immediate rights to inherit everything. There's a mistake that the Brahmins were making that led to the downfall of the entire Brahmin community. Oh, I'm Brahmin by birth, therefore I'm automatically Brahmin. No need for me to act like a Brahmin. I'm Brahmin by blood. And this was the biggest downfall of the Brahmin community. Just because someone is a Brahmin by birth does not qualify him to be Brahmin. He must be Brahmin by action as well. Just because we inherited, because we are living entities, not the material energy, that we are higher, superior than the material energy, that we are part of Krishna, does not mean automatically that we are Krishna conscious or that we will inherit everything that Krishna is willing to give us. It doesn't mean that we are Nitya Siddha right away. We still have to qualify. We have to qualify. We have to qualify. And that's why we came here, because we weren't qualified. Bhakti Vinod Thakur explains that. He says we didn't have the bhakti. That means we weren't qualified. We thought we can get away with it without qualification. This is part of the ignorance that we suffer from. So we have to qualify to be Krishna conscious. We have to do the bhakti. Prabhupada says, I'm giving you so much. Here's beautiful ghee, beautiful everything. Prabhupada paints his beautiful picture. He's enticing us. He's painting the picture. Now you must, perform. No one's going to do it for you. Get down and off of your obeisances. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya. It has to come from the heart. You can't just go, Nama Om Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Padaya, and be superficial about it and expect to become Krishna conscious. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare. It's not gonna. That's how we use it in the early days. We'd sometimes do like that because we get tired and we're young and we're inexperienced. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Ram Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare Ram Ram Ram. And thinking that, and how that's not Krishna consciousness. It takes time. You have to practice, but you have to practice staying awake, chanting. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna. Listen to Prabhupada on his tape as he's chanting. We have to have that energy transferred to us, the energy of devotion, bhakti, has to be transferred to our heart. Hridi, antasto, hiya badrani, vidhu noti saritsata. You have to have that bhakti transferred to the heart so that the knot can be cut. The knot has to be cut. That attachment that we have to the body has to be sliced. It's interesting how Krishna, in the form of Narayan, has Sudarshan Chakra. So we can either have our head sliced from our body the hard way through death, where it's forcibly taken from us, the body, or we can voluntarily give the body up. That is a choice that we can make. Prabhupada is saying, do it the easy way. You come, take prasadam, dance, chant, follow the process of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and you'll give up your bodily conception. It's such a nice program Prabhupada taught us. It's sublime. This is how Prabhupada spoke to us in the early days. Take up this nice sublime activity. Or you will be you'll be forced to give up your body. Against your wishes, you'll be forced. And then the Yamadunas are going to pay you a visit. Prabhupada taught us like this. Don't do that. Don't be a fool. Take this rare opportunity to be Krishna conscious. It's rare. Human life is rare. Don't waste it on sense gratification, Prabhupada said, because it's charvita charvitanam. It's the chewing the chewed. But we don't see that, but we need the pure devotee to explain it to us. But it's really chewing the chewed. Everyone who is engaged in material sense gratification knows after a while it's really not that great. It's just gets dry after a while. Even if you think you have the best sense gratification, it's really not ever fresh. It's not ever fresh. Sense gratification is not fresh. It's old. It looks fresh. This is Maya. It looks like a rope, but it's really a snake, or vice versa. Sense gratification seems appealing. And then we see that the materialist is grasping for the last straw of pleasure. Give me that last bit of cocaine. Give me that last bit of heroin. And then dies. People are looking, apavarga, they work so hard that foam comes to their mouth. They're working so hard for sense gratification. Prabhupada taught us all these things. The materialist is working so hard. Big house, nice car, nice wife, works hard just so he can have these things, so he can come home, but he can't enjoy them. They're not enjoyable. He never is able to enjoy them. That's the illusion. You cannot enjoy. You cannot enjoy the material world. It's not possible. Prabhupada's coming to teach this important formula, just as Lord Krishna taught Arjuna. But we are servants, not masters. We are always servants. And when the servant acts like a master, he fails. And when the servant acts like a servant, he wins. And Krishna told Arjuna, stop with your attachment to your cousin brothers and everyone else and thinking that this is all about you and that life revolves around you and that you're the master of your life. Give it up because they are all mine, Krishna says. I'm the master, Arjuna, not you. Give up the illusion of attachment that you're the master. Act under my order. Be my servant and you'll be successful. But Krishna doesn't demand. He doesn't force Arjuna. He says to him, after 700 verses of Bhagavad Gita, here is the perfect knowledge, Arjuna. I've given to you the same knowledge I gave to the sun god 2 million years earlier. This is the perfection of knowledge. But I'm not going to force you. Do as you want. I've shown you the universal form. I've taught you everything. We're good friends. And I've given you everything, knowledge, because I'm the original person. So many births we've taken, but I remember them all. Now do what you want with this knowledge, Arjuna. And the Lord was silent. And Arjuna responded, I must surrender. I must act under your command. This is what I must do because I'm not going to listen to the illusion of my mind. I'm not going to listen to it. I've learned just by your speaking to me these ambrosial words, O Lord. My illusion is now clear and I'm ready to fight on your behalf. And this is what Krishna wanted to hear. Then let's fight. Let's go for it. And he drove the chariot. This is what Krishna wanted to hear from Arjuna. And it's the same what we want, what Lord Chaitanya wants from us and what Srila Prabhupada wants from us. Give up the illusion that you can enjoy this material world. It's not possible. Stop trying. Give it up and surrender. And let's move forward and preach the holy name and teach the holy name and give people the real knowledge. And let's all together make this world into Vaikuntha. This is the vision of Prabhupada. This is the vision of Lord Chaitanya. They don't accept that this Kali Yuga is going to simply go down, 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 and that there's no hope. They don't accept that. During Lord Chaitanya's time, it says in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishnadas Kaviraj, he saw thousands and thousands and hundreds of thousands and huge crowds coming to see Lord Chaitanya. He was under the impression that all these people came and they went back to Godhead. We don't see that at this point. They saw it. We didn't. We should think that at the current stage right now, even though the Kali Yuga will continue, but we should think, because of Lord Chaitanya's presence, because of Srila Prabhupada's presence, that the whole world can become Krishna conscious, and that all of us can go back to Godhead together. And that if that happens, it's explained that the Lord will fill up the world again with more living entities to fulfill the Kali Yuga. We shouldn't think that Lord Chaitanya's coming and Prabhupada's coming is a waste of time. There can be millions of temples and millions and billions of disciples and billions of people chanting the holy name. This entire earth can be converted to Vaikuntha even during the Kali Yuga. And still the Kali Yuga can go on with other living beings. Doesn't have to be us. There's hope. We have to see that. When you're not the body, when you see that you're not the body, when you see that you're actually spirit soul, and that there's spiritual living entities expanded everywhere, and that the Brahman energy is everywhere, there's hope. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Chant the holy names and be all glories to Srila Prabhupada.